afternoon and welcome to Bariatric Friday. My name is Kemal Erkan. Today is November 15th, 2024. Our Bariatric Friday time. So we are going to be discussing the bariatric support groups and how actually, why and how this is important for patients who are going through the healthier life after their operations. As they are going through physical challenges, they also go through a lot of emotional and psychological challenges as well. So the support group is a unique space where patients can share their experiences, gain education, stay motivated, and build meaningful connections. And together we are going to explore and make this more available for those who are looking for engaging in these activities with us. And Dr. Isaias Irgau is with me here. Dr. Irgau, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kemal. Wonderful to be here on a Friday afternoon for our favorite session, Bariatric Friday.
Thank you for being with us. So now we are going to do the support group, and I want you to kind of overall give us the overview of this to see what it is. And then I'm going to share our patient survey results. I think it was in February that we did almost 8-9 different questions. And I want to kind of bring those up and then discuss those answers related to bariatric support group and if some of those can be addressed. And also, I'm curious to see what your intake was on those, your reaction was on those survey results. So I'm going to actually repeat those at some point. So before we do that again, I'm going to actually use them one more time.
Absolutely. So very important, right? A support group really is a inherent and organic part of any good bariatric program. And obviously, we talk about program here. We don't just talk about surgery because the actual surgery really is part of a much bigger engagement with the patients that starts well before the surgery and obviously is ongoing after the surgery as well. And support group, particularly post-operatively, is critical. And it's critical particularly for bariatric surgery for a number of reasons. One, and very, very important, Kemal, is that after bariatric surgery, there are very major changes that occur in the life of the patient, right? The appearance itself is different, right? How patients look because they're losing significant amount of weight and what that means in their interactions with their loved ones, with their friends, with their co-workers, that by itself creates a number of challenges emotionally and mentally, right? There are changes in how the person lives, how they eat, how they active they are, right? And all this require a degree of ongoing support that, yes, the patients can get by going to see their practitioner. And of course, the counseling with the surgeon, the counseling with the nutritionists are important. But really a support group where there are peers, in a way, of the patient, people who've gone through the same process as well. And they have a safe space in which, without any judgment, they are able to discuss and bring about any issues that they're coming across is really important, right? And that really gives a sense of confidence to the patients when they are facing challenges, but also it's a place where they can find practical answers and solutions to problems that they may have coming across, right? They see something that they haven't heard of, or a solution that a problem of which a solution they haven't heard of, and they bring it up. What works? What doesn't work? What was a tip that you can give me? And this collection of people who are sharing this post-operative journey together will have a collective wisdom that cannot be found in any individual setting. That's why support groups are very important. Long term, the other critically important thing is that we want to maintain that achievement after bariatric surgery. They've lost weight. They've many of their health complications related to extreme obesity have improved, whether it's diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, right? And we want to keep them off. We want their weight to stay off as well. And now we know that one of the reasons people struggle with weight regain, for instance, long term, is when they come across different changes in their life that could put stress on them, right? Emotional issues, other stressful events, whether it's losing a job or a loved one, that could put people into a situation where they lose focus and they go back in that destructive eating behavior, where eating becomes a way of really addressing the emotional problems. And that obviously is very, very damaging to the person who has lost weight, because there is a danger of weight regain. What better setup to have than go to a support group and then listen from the challenges that others have experienced and how they overcome it. Right?
Now, let's think about it for a second. So, because I was trying to listen as a patient. And I'm like, how do I get to this place that they're talking about? So, so on our CHRIAS website, patients can go in, right on the main page. There is a, well, they can sign up for weight loss seminars as well, but support group, there are two of them.
Yes.
One is for the Zoom that's actually administered by Dr. Galvin, usually on the first Tuesday of every month. And they can register here very quickly. And then if they have Facebook, they also can go to Facebook support group, and they can actually become a member. And these are only, this is a private group, so it would be only for members. And then anyone who are not patient of CHRIAS are not in there. So we actually verify them. So it's a safe private group for those patients who wants to actually get extra support. So, sorry, Dr. Guy, kind of, I was trying to see like, how do I get to this? So now they know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So these are meetings that occur once a month, and then patients are welcome, right? They once a month means about 12 times a year, and they don't have to go to all of them, right? Life is very busy and there are very many engagements. We understand that, but going to some of them, at least if they could go to about 6 of them a year, I think that would be very important, again, to keep them engaged as well. But we like for them to come even when they're not having problems, because we want them to share their good experiences as well. Others need to hear now how they have been able to overcome these challenges. And the problem obviously is that when you are not participating into all these meetings, you feel alone, because your loved ones, your friends, your family may not be able to be as empathetic as you would want them to be, because they don't share that experience. They could not see the world the way you're looking at it, or the way you're living it right now after bariatric surgery. It's a unique experience. So having that community where all this can be shared is extremely important. So whether you're doing well or whether you're struggling, coming to support group, I think, is critically important, and we certainly encourage all our patients to be able to do that.
Okay. So now, when we do this with Zoom, there are time to time we have actually surgeons, usually maybe a plastic surgeon plus is there.
So a psychologist would come, a nutritionist would come sometimes, and patients also can request to have somebody of a particular specialty that they want to hear from, and yet we are able to bring them. As you say, the moderator is usually Dr. Galvin, who's one of our senior bariatric surgeons, and she will be there not necessarily to answer questions, but to moderate. Right? We want the discussion to be more between the participants of the support group. And when we say that, also remember, we're not saying that everybody must speak. It's okay to come and just listen as well. Okay, that's very important. People should not feel compelled that because they're coming, they have to say something. No.
Well, it would be nice if they do.
If they did, but some people may not feel comfortable to do that, and that's okay. That's also part of the reason why this is a safe space, essentially, because there is no specific requirement for anybody to do anything to participate, except for being somebody who has undergone bariatric surgery in our program, obviously. And the reason again is that, you know, when there are more people who have shared the same experience, who have walked that walk, it is very likely that some tip, some advice, some suggestion will come that will be very, very important for everyone. And then, you know, it is also, we see it very often, people come, for instance, with the idea of just listening, and then suddenly they are pulled into the conversation because they find it very interesting, and they are compelled also very often to share experiences when they hear that somebody is in despair because they have not been able to achieve this or that. And as I said, the moderator, the Dr. Win, is there to just moderate, not necessarily to lead them one way or the other. As you correctly say, sometimes we do bring guest speakers to talk about specific issues. For instance, plastic surgeons. Input here would be important because one of the things that patients are interested in is how to deal with loose skin when you've lost, you know, 60, 70, 80, 100, 150 pounds essentially. And loose skin is an inevitable outcome of massive weight loss very often. And for some people, it's not a problem, it's not a big deal. But for others, even a little bit of loose skin could be an issue. And looking to remodel their body with plastic surgery is an option, obviously, but they would like to hear more about that. So bringing the plastic surgeon to share what kind of potential options there are is actually a very good thing to do.
So I guess one of the ways that when we look into why people want to be, like how they actually benefit from it. So they also want to share good outcome, the success stories, right? So, and I see this from our Facebook pages, and I know I'm not going to share any of these, but just kind of, because there are 442 members, but when I look at the discussion every time, usually I'm looking at this guy who has his own before and after picture, and he's like half of his body is gone. So this is a recent post, and then I see a lot of whom they are like, "Hey, this is what I have done." So and they are proud of that, and then and they want to do better, and then they want to share that. Now there are some where a lot of things that we actually tell patients. It may be working for someone, it may not be working with someone else, but we may not be able to cover everything as well. So then, again, we are monitoring what's being discussed, but I also see some good exchanges in terms of how they eat, what they eat. You know, one of the people, and again, just looking at it, where he's down to 185 pounds. So, and then again, before and after picture is there, but also how they eat, how they exercise, what struggles they went through. I think sharing all those is important, and us to give that platform in two different settings. Well, give that in two different platforms, one as like physician, surgeon being there, and then the other one is on the Facebook, which is still physician monitored, and we're still not like, there's no spam or no marketing related stuff. It's just pure discussion between the patients of CHRIAS. So I think it's a great way for patients to take advantage of those. Now, I know we're not done with this one, but I want to kind of bring up a couple. I'm going to bring the video of all the questions all together.
Yeah.
Unless you want me to just put the picture, I have both of them ready. But I'm thinking that it would be better if we just run the video of those questions, and then I will ask you the specific questions.
And then we can address them.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's see. It is. I have everything ready, and I don't have everything. I have here, so this should be it. So time to time I use this for our this is not for our patients, so obviously this is on Twitter and on my account, and I want to kind of get the idea, because support group also has the the aspect of the social stigma. And I was trying to get some information to kind of better understand how people are taking and what their approach is. So question was, which weight loss method do you find most effective for morbid obesity? And the answer on that was
Diet and exercise.
diet and exercise being like I think 70% and then bariatric surgery is the second one, and then there's medication. But the diet and exercise is over 70%. So this is one of the reasons that I thought it would be timely for us to discuss this in the support group session, because if I'm a patient who have morbid obesity, I also deal with this social stigma. To me, this is a social stigma outcome where vast majority of people, when I say morbid obesity specifically, they think that, hey, you just need to do diet and exercise. So what's your take on that?
Well, absolutely, but that is a very pervasive feeling, right? The fact that people think that extreme obesity is the fault of the person, just because the person did not have enough willpower to stick to a diet or to an exercise regime, right? That simplistic view has long been debunked, right? Because we know, yes, diet and exercise are important. But when people struggle with extreme obesity, it means that there is a biological drive that is so relentless that no matter how much dieting or exercising patients do, they just cannot get rid of it. In fact, they find that year after year, that yo-yo of dieting exercise leads them to even higher weights. So that 10 years, 15 years later, despite all their attempts, despite lots of money that they may have spent on dieting and exercise, their weight is actually greater than others, right? So really clearly, our biology, the biology of people who struggle with extreme obesity, is the key driver to their condition. Yes, diet and exercise do contribute. There is no question that if all of us were living in a society that was completely agrarian, where there was no technology, where there was no stores, right? Yes, there would not be extreme obesity. And we know that because if you look at society 100 years ago, 150 years ago, the rates of obesity that we have now were unknown, except for some very few, very wealthy people. Everybody else was very thin. And that is because this environment was really forcing that situation. But you cannot live in this environment where we are and expect people to just do it with diet and exercise. You just can't.
Although we can have our cake and eat it too. That's what people want.
Well,
to do.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
So,
But the key is that there is a total misunderstanding on the real driver of extreme obesity, and that's the key here. It's not just about willpower. If it were, then extremely successful people in many avenues of life would not struggle with obesity, and yet they do. Obesity.
but look at Elon Musk, like he's the wealthiest man in the world, and he's
he's not
morbidly obese.
I mean,
he has morbid obesity.
or other celebrities that have struggled.
But I mean, Elon Musk should be able to figure this out, right? If it was about the diet and exercise.
Well, he's figuring out many things in the world, so.
But not not understanding the chronic illness part of the morbid obesity.
So-
He is morbid obese.
So that is
So-
really takes us to the key issue here. It's not about willpower. People may think it's about willpower, but it's not. Now, the people who find themselves on the thin side, right, may give credit to themselves, but actually credit goes to their biology, right? Because there are some people who may want to, consume whatever they want, and they never work out, and yet weight is not an issue for them. And that is just because they have been endowed with a genetic backup that is so rare, but still exists, where they remain thin all their life. The vast majority of us run a very different spectrum that goes from mild to moderate to very severe, where the biology drives it, and it's very hard to stay, right? So it is no surprise that the vast majority of your respondents, they were saying it's about diet and exercise, and that's what we come across as well. And that's also an important reason why a support group is critical, because you want to be in an environment where there is no judgment, right? When you're saying to people, look, guys, I lost this much weight, but I've hit a plateau. I cannot go down further. What is happening? Why can I not do it? I'm still eating, less than 1,000 calories a day. I'm still working out, but my weight does not want to budge. What do I do? If you go and say that to other people, they're gonna, people who think it's all about diet and exercise, they're gonna say, well, maybe you're not telling us the truth. Maybe you're not doing the diet and exercise, right? But people who have experienced the same, they understand that losing weight is one of the hardest things anybody, including people who are able to send a rocket to Mars, will find very, very hard to solve by
You
themselves.
should join our support group.
So meaning though, this is really a very good way to really illustrate it's not just about willpower, Kemal, and that's critically important. When you are in an environment which is, full of people like yourself who've struggled, who've gone to the extent of having surgery because of the severity of their problem, you want to be in that situation also when you encounter problems, right? One issue that you mentioned before that is important, Kemal, is that we don't want people to think also that this forum is dominated by just successful people who want to show how much they've lost, right? It's going to be all types of people, We don't want people to feel, oh, I didn't lose enough, so I don't want to go there because I don't want to be shamed into this. Nothing like that. We are there to support, help, provide solutions, provide options that are going to be useful for people.
Like these next two questions, it's kind of like addressing that in a way that kind of supporting it, not addressing it, but how often you discuss the importance of obesity awareness in your community, and 61% says rarely. So this is not something that's being discussed readily available for in the social settings. And then when question continues with number 3, what's the biggest challenge you have faced in your weight loss journey? Again, related to support group and staying motivated. Yeah. So dealing with cravings, physical finding time and exercises, number 3, and then social stigma, number 4. But staying motivated and social stigma together is half of the problem.
No question. But let's take that staying motivated issue for instance, right? Motivation usually is born out of success, right? You're successful, you feel good, you're motivated to, right? But sometimes you may hit a wall. And that does happen in weight loss journey, even after bariatric surgery, right? Somebody who was, let's say, 350 pounds, they're trying to become 180. Everything could stop at 220, right? Now they've lost 130 pounds, but they want to go further, right? Because they want to lose more, they want to be at that healthy BMI, and they may hit a wall no matter what they do. It may be hard, right? Now, think about it. This continuous effort and the continuous defeats, right, to get down, may make them lose their motivation. One of the worst things about losing motivation, Kemal, is you could throw your arms up and actually lose focus. And now the weight could start going in the wrong direction, right? Instead of looking at how much success they've had so far, they start looking at how difficult it is to go further, right? And if you are by yourself in this dilemma, it's very easy to throw your arm up, lose focus, and now the weight could be going in a direction, right? We want people to not to do that. If they come to support group and hear stories from others, yes, my goal was also to go to 170, but I could not go beyond 190. Why? What can I do? What would work differently? And that's where the discussion and the support is important. Not only to provide potential ways to reset, their weight loss, but also to understand that they're not struggling by themselves. And it's also okay, the fact that now, you're 190 instead of 170 when you started at 350, right? Just think about the massive achievement of that weight loss so far. So to be able to have an insight on all this, you need to be in a group where this is discussed. This is brought out, again, without judgment, but with empathy.
It's not the judgment. I think when I mentioned Elon Musk issue, point that I'm trying to make is the guy who has more than 250 billion, richest guy, is dealing with this problem. So I have the picture of him.
Okay.
So like I said, I'm just looking at you to see if you're going to be upset with me, but I just want to make sure that people understand this is not, that's why I also sometimes share what I'm going through with my, journey day to day.
All of us.
We didn't have bariatric surgery that wasn't available for BMI 28, 29, but that is where the problem is. So, this is a recent picture, if I'm not mistaken. So he's the richest man. Now, he has several hair transplant, and he took care of that problem, but he couldn't take care of the morbid obesity issue. And because this is not easy, right? So,
right. I mean, you cannot pay somebody else to do the workout for you, right? You have to do it yourself, right? And you cannot pay somebody to stay focused. It's very difficult. And the reason is, again, the point that, this is being brought out, Kemal, as I understand it, is that to show it's not about willpower. Right? If it was about willpower, there are so many extremely successful people who still struggle despite their willpower. So it's not, right? So we have to understand that if those very powerful people are having a hard time, mere mortals like us right now, Kamal, are going to struggle even more, right? So let's understand the main motive and the main driver here. The main driver is the biology. The biology in this environment, again, it's the biology plus the environment, right? And you cannot separate them, right? No matter how much you work hard, you're going to go back living in this environment, right? And one of the things that bariatric surgery does, Kamal, is that it interferes with that biology. And that's the critically important thing, right? The biology that was driving the weight at a set point, no matter what the person does, by tweaking their appetite, by tweaking their energy consumption, the body is extremely good at keeping that weight up. Well, with bariatric surgery, we interfere with that. When we make the stomach smaller, we're not just making sure that they can eat only a little bit more. We are also changing how the digestive tract communicates with the brain and interfere with that body's ability to drive that weight up. And that's why bariatric surgery is so successful, right?
It's not just the physical part of the stomach is being taken out, but that's the part that makes us hungry.
Yes.
Hungrier.
Yes. We are changing how the metabolism works. We're interfering with that metabolic process, and that's how the surgery is very successful.
So the next two questions, where they get their information, where did you primarily gather information about bariatric surgery? And the 40% says healthcare professionals, 40% is online research, and 20% is friends and family. So the 60%, in my opinion, if we were to ask these people how you get your information on treatment for diabetes, healthcare professionals would be probably 85–90%.
Absolutely.
And we are not there yet. So that's one of the reasons that we are actually available every week to give these updates. The next question is this is important, but kind of like, let me read the question. What are the expectations and hopes? And 38% says significant weight loss. Well, we expect that. But 24% says improved health conditions. Right? So this is not about the way we look, but this is about how we live. And another 23% says better quality of life. And then if you can actually improve health condition, better quality of life, they're very similar answers. So half of the people are actually getting into this for improving their health situations where they are. Now, one important one that's related to the support group aspect is, what challenges have you faced or are you currently facing the pre-bariatric surgery phase? And here where it says 30% is the emotional struggles. So, there's 20% dietary restrictions, lifestyle changes, 27%. insurance rate is rising at 23%. I don't understand that one because in Delaware, all Medicaid managed care are covering this 100%.
There was a time in which they didn't, and there may be a remnant from that perception. And of course,
these old days, but this is now, I would say, this for the last 10, 12 years.
Yeah, but for us, because we follow the situation, we know, but people, have heard over, there are still some people who occasionally come and say, hey, is this considered medically necessary or is this considered cosmetic, right? Because again, it's that stigma, right? You think morbid obesity is not a disease, right? So when you go to address it, you think your insurance is not going to cover it because you don't think they look at it as a disease. So that would maybe why people are looking at it that way. Essentially.
I mean, but still, it's a really high number.
It is.
And then the next question. They're kind of getting out with the political one, so I'm trying to read them out. So it was number of hours per week you engage in physical activities. 7+ is like 29%, which I believe they're exaggerating. 4 to 6 hours per week is 29% also. 1 to 3 times is 29%, and then 13% says not. I don't know if, again, survey was not specific to the people who have or are going through the bariatric surgery. So some of them, because there were some not so great comments that I have seen, so they may be just doing it just to make people upset. But this is important. So how often you eat at a restaurant or fast food establishments? Again, people are not being truthful. 37% says almost never. That's not true. It cannot be that high. I'll send some pictures from midnight from some fast food restaurants, as long as you don't ask me why I'm there. So 40% of the people says 1 to 2 times, and then 18% says 3 to 5 times. So this is not, I don't think it's maybe reflecting the reality, because a lot of our patients do struggle with the fast food and eating out. And
well, now that we have dash door, I wonder whether
so
there is eating out less, but there is more, food.
But it's expensive, right? So I didn't. It was 2 years ago. I didn't know what dash door was until you told me about.
Yeah, it is expensive, but
one of your kids was using it. So how did I miss that? But I still don't know how to do it. Which is like I try to stay out of it. So because it would, if it's too easy, then I would probably order things that I wouldn't want to order in times where I would actually take care of certain things at home versus now, hey, do the DoorDash and boom, you get what you want in 10 minutes. That's a struggle.
Yeah. Like many things in modern life, obviously there is that convenience aspect to it. But when you think about it from a health point of view, really, we want to encourage people to really learn to prepare food by themselves or at home by getting, fresh foods as much as possible. And of course, ordering from restaurants is no different than going to a restaurant and eating there, except obviously by staying at home, you're even taking that little exercise that would have come with just going to the restaurant yourself, right?
So, I want to actually share one thing. Like yesterday, I had my doctor's appointment for the telehealth, and I got ready for the appointment by taking my blood pressure before, so that I can actually provide as much information I can, the weight, and also one thing that I realized, we were just talking about how patients, they like our bariatric patients, they like to share success stories and how well they are doing. One of the things that I find myself doing is sharing my activity with Dr. Valencia, and there was that little bit of pride that you kind of take because
he was happy to see it, right?
But also I want him to know that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of like the whole psychological maybe impact of, hey, you want to share a good outcome. So like I'm doing much more than what I was doing the year before. And then, that's improving on a regular basis. And also I feel it. And then I actually tell him that my blood work probably is going to be better than last time, and I put $100 on me and $0 on him. So, but it's like there's that need for sharing. So, but in order to do that, we need to kind of keep track of what we are doing. So it cannot be just like, hey, I just want to share. But then if you cannot show me what you really are doing, what you have done, we need to kind of qualify the information so that, like, just like when I was reading these survey results, I said, well, these are not our regular patients because they were not lining up with what we normally see. So giving the objective results and the numbers, data to the healthcare provider is going to be the key. And,
of course,
because they can help.
Yeah.
So what else we miss?
I think we've covered everything, right? We've covered the fact that support group is an integral part of our program, and we do have it on a monthly basis. It's a Zoom meeting, but we do have that virtual support group, which is present all the time, which is through Facebook as well, where people can air whatever questions they have and feel comfortable in asking questions, sharing success stories, talk about challenges. It's an integral part of our program, and we want people to utilize it, obviously.
I'm just looking at one last picture on the support group on Facebook. So down 180 pounds in 1 year.
Amazing.
And they have a picture in front of the surgery center. That's amazing.
Amazing.
If you think about it, like how happy this person is right now, and then he put before and after pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, it can get any better than that.
It can.
The only thing that we can do for those is the making the support group readily available in 2 different platforms. So please follow us on those channels, and also YouTube. We have several hundreds now videos out there, and I think there's no more excuse of saying that, hey, we don't get enough information. So everything's out there available. So we'll be back next week with the holiday struggles because we have Thanksgiving and Christmas coming and the New Year. So this is the time where people usually put 10 to 15 pounds in 4 or 5 week time window, and we are going to help those to overcome the holiday impact on the weight management. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Irgau, thank you again, and then we'll be back next week.